What up? Alright, I got a question from a 22-year-old Gaelic football player who says he's been doing some form of strength training for a little while, and his question was, how can he make himself faster? So I decided to shoot a video to answer his question instead of writing him back a long email. Now, anyone who knows me knows I can be pretty long-winded, and this is a long answer, so if you want to know my answer, here it is. So what we can see here on the whiteboard is what's known as the athletic development hierarchy. Basically, I developed this hierarchy from a few resources, but particularly Al Vermeil. So what we can see at the bottom of the hierarchy is movement quality, work capacity, nutrition, body fat percentage, and mental, emotional, and spiritual health and well-being. Okay. Then on top of that we have hypertrophy. On top of that, max strength. On top of that, explosive strength, which explosive strength can be enhanced by doing what's known as strength, speed, or speed strength exercises. Then we have elastic strength, which is mainly enhanced by speed strength type exercises. And then finally, speed at the top of the pyramid. Okay. And the basic idea of this athletic development hierarchy is that all the qualities in this hierarchy build on the preceding qualities that came before them, and they need those preceding qualities to support them. Okay, so we need movement quality, work capacity, nutrition, optimal body fat percentage, and optimal psychological health to help support these preceding qualities as we go up the pyramid. Okay, so again, for explosive strength needs a good foundation of max strength. Elastic strength and speed needs a good foundation of max strength and explosive strength. Okay, so these preceding qualities help to optimally develop the succeeding qualities as we go up the hierarchy of this athletic development hierarchy pyramid. So my question then to this particular individual who wants to know how he can get faster is, well, where are you on this pyramid? Okay, what is your movement quality like? What is your work capacity like? What is your nutritional lifestyle or nutritional habits like? What is your body fat percentage? How are you psychologically and mentally? Do you need to put on more muscle mass? What is your maximum or relative strength like? What is your rate of force development like? And then what is your speed and elastic strength like? And the question then is, or what I would say to this individual is, depending on where you are within these certain qualities, we need to find out what your limiting factor is, and then we need to train that limiting factor. So the question is now, what are the optimum requirements for each one of these qualities? So again, if we start down at the very foundational layer of our pyramid here, we have movement quality. Okay, so for movement quality, I use FMS. My minimum standard is a 14 out of 21, and it needs to be symmetrical twos. Okay, 14 out of 21 is a good to go. It's an amber light on the red, amber, green system, and we got to make sure that that doesn't fall into a red light. Make sure we don't go to any ones or asymmetries. But 14 out of 21 is good to go. Okay, so if he has a 14 out of 21, he has the movement part down on the hierarchy. Body fat percentage for most of the people I work with are Gaelic football players and hurlers. So ideally, I wouldn't want any higher than about 13%. And I kind of want you between 10 and 13%. 10 and 13% is good enough. If you're below 10%, we don't have a problem. Okay, but if you're above 13%, we need to look into that. Okay, we need to look into your nutrition and your lifestyle factors. Okay, so if you're within this bracket, you've got body fat percentage down. Then we go work capacity. So work capacity, I look for over 1,200 meters on a yo-yo intermittent recovery test, and a resting heart rate below 60 beats per minute ideally. Okay, so if you have all these in place, you're good to go with regards to this part of the pyramid. Okay, next step up then, hypertrophy. If you need to build hypertrophy, so if you're a rugby player or someone that's in a collision type sport like rugby, or even Gaelic football and a contact sport. Now, Gaelic football isn't as extreme as rugby. It's not a collision sport. Like rugby, you need to have some sort of, shield of armor basically to protect your joints. But if you do need to put on a bit of muscle mass, this is where you go to next. Okay, if you have a reasonably good build or a reasonably good amount of muscle mass. Next level then is maximum strength, and here are our parameters for maximum strength. So for me, trap bar deadlift I test. I want to be able to do a trap bar deadlift of 1.75 to 2.25 times body weight. That's plenty enough strength with regards to someone who wants to play Gaelic football or hurling. A back squat, if you want to do a back squat, if you do back squat and you're training, 1.5 to 1.7 times your body weight, and a bench press of 1 to 1.5 times your body weight is plenty. Okay, so if you have those down, then the next thing we need to look at is where is your explosive strength. Okay, and explosive strength can be developed with strength speed exercises and speed strength exercises. So strength speed exercises will be things like Olympic lifts and Olympic lift variations. Now, if you do Olympic lifts in your training, this is what I kind of want you to be hitting. Okay, so if you're doing a hang clean, for instance, I'd want you doing 1 to 1.25 times your body weight. A hang snatch, 0.70 to 0.90 times the body weight. Okay, from a speed strength end of things, let's say if we look at a counter vertical jump and a non-counter vertical jump. So on the counter vertical jump, I'd want you hitting about 25 to 30 inches, okay? And I want your non-counter vertical jump to be no more than 16 to 20% less than your counter vertical jump. So no more than about 4, 5, or 6 inches off your counter vertical jump, okay? And a non-counter vertical jump really looks at, starting strength, the ability to overcome inertia. So usually people who've got very good maximum strength levels usually have a fairly decent non-counter vertical jump, okay? But again, these give us a good indication of what your explosive strength is like. So if you're meeting these parameters, the next thing then we need to look at is where is your elastic strength. Now there's a few ways to measure elastic strength. You can do a 4 jump test on a thing like a just jump. But a cheaper way of doing it is a test I heard from Don Chu and Oliver Mill, where they would say, step onto about an 18-inch or 20-inch box, do a depth jump off the box, and then go straight into a vertical jump. And if you can get near or the exact same as your vertical jump, your elastic strength is probably pretty good. Okay, then the last thing we need to look at, if all of this is in place, if you're meeting all the criteria and all the normative data, then we got to look at where is your speed. Okay, so on a 10 meter and 20 meter speed test, depending on body weight too, these are the general criteria I've come across and I've implemented with my guys. If you're between 80 and 90 kg, we're looking at doing a 10 meter in about 1.6 to 1.8 seconds, a 20 meter in 2.6 to 2.8 seconds. If you're more towards 90 to 100 kg, 1.7 to 1.9 seconds for 10 meters, and 2.7 to 2.9 for 10 meters. Okay, now, and they're just some guidelines. Okay, but the whole idea is, as I said, where are you on this hierarchy? What are your limiting factors? Okay, another thing too to consider is that you can actually get someone who actually is very strong and very powerful, but is very poor work capacity. That means that they need to actually spend more time focusing on getting their work capacity up to be able to support their strength and power levels. Okay, and again, if you have a complete beginner who's terrible at all this, he'll also start in work capacity. Okay, work capacity and movement quality. Okay, and they're very, very important, because if you have qualities higher up in this hierarchy, so like maximum strength, explosive strength, elastic strength, speed, whatever, but yet you don't have the foundational levels below them, like movement quality, work capacity, body fat percentage, your nutrition, you're at a risk, more of a risk of injury, okay, because you don't have this foundation to support these higher qualities, and you're never going to optimally develop these qualities higher up on the hierarchy. Okay, and like another example too is you might get someone who's very fast and very elastic, but are very weak with regards to maximum strength. And again, they're at a big risk of getting injured because they don't have the strength levels to support their speed and elastic strength, and also they'll never optimally develop their speed and elastic strength because they're weak with regards to their maximum and relative strength. Okay, so the question is, where are you on this hierarchy? What are your results with regards to this criteria here? Okay, so what is your limiting factor with regards to this hierarchy? Find out what it is, and then you need to train that limiting factor. And if it's near the bottom of this hierarchy, you need to train that limiting factor and then start to build the succeeding qualities upon that limiting quality that you have. Okay, and also with regards to nutrition, we can also do like a nutritional analysis, questionnaires. If it was someone who really had issues, not so much athletes, more so like the general population, you might do cortisol tests or maybe a liver test or a gut test if they were very, very, very bad. But with nutrition, we can do a nutritional analysis. But that's basically the long-winded answer of how to optimally develop speed, okay? So I hope that made sense. If it didn't make sense or you have any questions, just stick them below, okay? So thanks for watching, guys. Take care.